Hi, Jason Knott with CE Pro, and today I'm talking about Multiroom Audio with David Krinker, President and Founder at CasaTunes. Hi, David.
Hi, Jason. How are you?
I'm great. Thanks for joining me today.
Pleasure.
CasaTunes is kept up with the evolving smart home market. Where does CasaTunes fit with some of these evolving technologies or trends?
Yeah, so one of the things that differentiates us from some of the other companies is the fact that we develop all our own software. So we have the ability to be nimble and responsive to changes in the market space. And the other thing is that we are solely focused on providing audio solutions. And so it allows us to narrow our focus a little bit, but then also with that nimbleness, it allows us to, to support the trends. And so as an example, we've been very good at integrating the various matrix amplifiers as that market's evolved. So now we've gone from supporting serial-based amplifiers to IP-based amplifiers, and now to audio over IP type amplifiers. So we're evolving with that. And then in addition to that, because we do focus solely on the audio, we've also said, okay, if I'm putting an audio system into my home, I want to make sure that I can play well with all the other audio components that are in the house. So we do a lot of work to make sure that we also work with AV receivers. We make sure that we work with companies like Sonos, and we make sure that we work with other components in the home that people want, for example, like Lutron lighting and things like that, being able to integrate with their keypads, which we'll talk about later, I think. And then, of course, voice, being able to adapt our products so that they can be controlled over voice. And so we're able to do that because we do develop all our software in-house.
Let's talk about some of that integration, particularly you just mentioned Sonos. What's been the reaction from the integrator base or the customer base about your ability to work so closely with Sonos?
Yeah, and so that's really two different questions because, Sonos, and I'm not, Sonos has sort of a hit and miss relationship with a lot of its dealers or with a lot of dealers. So some people love Sonos, other people don't like Sonos. But from our perspective, what we wanted to do was, because Sonos is an extremely well-branded name product, and because customers ask for Sonos, we wanted to make sure that our dealers can work with the Sonos equipment so that they can basically provide their customers, satisfy their customers' needs for wanting to use Sonos, but then also gain the advantage of being able to use a centralized system, which is, in our opinion, a little more reliable and more manageable.
You mentioned another integration partner, Lutron. Tell us a little bit about how CasaTunes integrates with Lutron.
Yeah, so we work both with HomeWorks and Radio Raw systems, and what we've done is two things really. We integrate with, we use Lutron, we use their keypads to be able to control CasaTunes. So for example, one thing that's very popular with our dealers is the use of the Lutron Pico audio controllers. I don't know if you're familiar with those, the little audio devices. They're absolutely a fantastic device to work with a system like CasaTunes because they're extremely simple to use. So especially with customers that tend to be technophobic, challenged with their apps and things like that, this is a super device that they can use to be able to turn a room on, go to the next song, select the next playlist, change the volume, and so forth. So we do that with Lutron. And then the other thing that we do with Lutron is Lutron has this concept of scheduled timed events. So for example, at midnight, you can turn the lights off in the whole house. So we can piggyback on that and leverage those events to also trigger a CasaTunes action. So for example, just as you can turn all the lights off, we can turn all the music off. So those are a couple of things that we can do with Lutron.
That integration with other companies is so important to integrators. You also work with home control companies such as RTI, and a lot of those home control companies have voice control options. Can you sum up for us why the company offers so many different types of control options?
Well, one of our goals is the brains of the CasaTunes system, the CasaTunes multi-room audio system, is our music server. So one of the things that we want to do is be able to allow integrators and dealers to be able to use that music server in just about any kind of multi-room audio environment. So that is why we've added support for integrating it with all the different automation systems. That is why we've integrated it so that it can work with all the different audio distribution systems. That's why we integrate with the AV receivers. So the idea is that a dealer can pick one music server and deploy it in all their different kinds of installations. It's not that a customer would have all those different options, but a dealer will have many customers, and each customer may have different setups.
Okay, we're in the middle of this COVID-19 pandemic, and you were mentioning to me before we got on the call, talking about your remote ability to remote into the systems and be that first line of defense for the customers. Tell us a little bit about how you're supporting customers remotely during COVID-19.
Yeah, so this has been an interesting time, and what we've found is that typically the way support works at CasaTunes is the customer will call the dealer then works with the customer. If they can't resolve the problem, they call us, and then we work with them to resolve it. But we've always had this ability to remotely access their music servers. Again, that's the brain of our system, so that it's almost like us being with them on site to solve these problems. But obviously during this pandemic, customers have been reluctant to allow dealers into the homes. Dealers are reluctant to go into homes. So we've had to cut the dealer out of that. The dealer is sort of being cut out of the ability to go into a home to solve the issue. But nevertheless, when a customer does have an issue, they contact the dealer during this time, and the dealer has contacted us, and we have been able to go in and resolve a lot of the issues. In fact, we recently just went through our support ticket system to see how effective a job we were doing, and we determined, I believe, that over 95% of the tickets were closed with our ability to do this remote support. And I don't believe that I think in many ways it's actually been a quicker response because you don't have to wait necessarily for the dealer to have to go out to the home. So we're able to respond quicker. And I think we've done a good job. The other thing that's sort of interesting is we thought that we would get overwhelmed with the support tickets. And that has turned out not to be the case. So I think it's actually an indication that the product is really reliable out there. So we're happy about that too.
I think you're right, because I've seen data about the listening hours and percentage that has gone extremely way up amongst all consumers because they're stuck at home. And I think dealers are probably relieved that you're able to offer that line of defense for them because, as you say, they're not able to get into the home right now. So I think it's a positive thing across the board for both the consumers and the integrators.
Yeah. And, and I think it's, I think it looks really good for the dealer as well, the fact that they're able to support their customer even when they're not able to go to the site.
All right, David Krinker, founder and president of CasaTunes. Thanks for joining CE Pro today.
Thank you very much, Jason. I appreciate the opportunity.